You are listening to the Community Wealth Builders All Access podcast. The production team are Angel Moore and Georgia Sutherland. I'm Eve Robinson and welcome to the show. Welcome to the Community Wealth Builders All Access podcast. If you don't know what that is, it's advancing community wealth builders initiatives. They offer a network that individuals and organisations can join to collaborate and access resources related to community wealth building. Now that sort of sounds very sort of airy-fairy and everything, but in actual fact, each week we talk to people who, through their own efforts, have developed something that is helpful to the community. And with Well Doncaster, they've also been able to spread that joy, should I say. And today we're going to be talking to somebody who I know for myself personally, I'm going to feel that this is going to be good for me. So welcome to the show, and your name is Andy Phillips, that's right?
That's right, yes.
Yeah. And what company are you from?
My company is ARP Centric Solutions.
Which sounds so futuristic.
It does, doesn't it? In essence, it's quite a generic business name because I cover such a wide area of things of what I deliver. It's because some days I deliver to businesses, providing sort of to SMEs ideas and things that how we can keep their workforce.
I'm just going to backtrack. SMEs.
Small medium enterprises.
Right. Okay. Because we just have to make sure that if I don't understand it, I'm
Absolutely.
wondering if everybody else is understanding too. So I just wanted to backtrack. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah. No problem. So we'll look to go into certain organisations where I work with their staff to try and reduce the probability of injury or sickness in the workplace by putting interventions in through various sort of sports massage, stretching, exercises, advice on how they are, and also what we're probably going to be talking today, a little bit of lymphatic drainage.
Right. Now that, like you say, we've gone from this sort of very sort of high-tech sounding thing, and then we're coming down to things that we know, like lymphatic drainage and things like that. Well, I hope you do, and if you don't, by the end of this you will.
Absolutely.
But, so it sounds a very sort of altruistic thing to get into. So how did you get into it?
Purely accident. It was a strange story. I had a job as a senior manager in an international IT company, and I was frankly disillusioned and a little bit bored by it. So I wanted to do something at night school. So I went back to Sheffield Hallam University on one of their nights where they had for their postgrads, and I decided I wanted to do digital photography. And me being not a very patient person, couldn't be bothered to wait in the queue. And there was nobody at the sort of sports massage, and I never thought about it until that point. And then I went and sat down and had a chat with the team there, and I thought, well, actually, this is quite good. I've got massive hands, so that should that should be okay. So I did the course, not thinking any more than just doing a course for my own personal sort of mindfulness, should we say, just trying to learn a new skill. And then it developed that I got the bug for it, and then several years later I'd obviously gone through loads of different courses and whatever, and I was building a little bit on the side, and I built a little business on the side that was doing very well. I decided to take a career change from the IT management, but using some of the skills and the things that I incorporated within the IT industry to my own business, to look at it from completely new angles and probably from a different point of view to what most people do in this. So it's
because I can imagine that for a lot of people, it's like you look up, you probably need something with pain management. You wouldn't think that there would be a company that has the image that yours does, very sort of almost corporate sort of looking, and then when it comes down to it, the nub of it is you with this idea.
Absolutely. One of the things I try and do is I don't turn up and just deliver a service. What I want to is when I turn up to somebody's house, I want to find out what their cup final is. What is it that they can't do at this moment in time, and what potentially could they do? And we identify those goals, and then we work to those, and we just chip away at it over. And what we look at, we don't look at. I tell people not to expect perfection straight away, but what we want to do is progress, not perfection, and then we get there. Yeah. So it's using those same performance methodologies that I used in big business, and I can scale that down to one-on-one. I've got a client in Normanton whose entire goal was to be able to walk to her corner shop and back unaided, because she'd been sedentary and not very well and very immobile, and it was making everything quite problematic for the poor lady. 2 years down the line, she actually made it around Pugney's Country Park. She had to sit down. She had to have a stop and a rest and have an ice cream halfway around, but she made it. And that's the difference. That's what I want to look at. I don't want somebody to come to my business and say, I want to pay for a 1 hour session. I want to build those relationships and actually put something back. So we work to it as a goal.
Yeah. So you say you started this a few years ago. How long has it been? Have you been doing the actual business as a business?
2016 is when I first started taking clients on. But I did that in tandem with my other role until I managed to get I was lucky enough to get some nice redundancy. And then I went about September 2019 is when I went full time, because I had enough client base to be able to do it. And to point now where I've actually, I don't really advertise or anything, and I rarely take new clients on because I'm actually that full of existing clients. About 85% of my clients are repeat business.
Right, yeah.
Which only leaves me 15% of my availability to give, and that's usually taken up by other people who are on my spectrum of within my current client base. Which rarely I do get a chance to take a few new people on these days.
Oh, that's
it is. So one of the things I do is obviously come to Be Well Doncaster and do these talks to the community, not to get business for myself, but to perhaps add a little bit back to teach people some skills that they might be able to do to help them in their life.
Yeah, because I think, like you say, if you go around and talk to people, and you might have somebody that only comes out, like for that particular chat, but listening to you and hearing that a sedentary life is not going to help them, but you've got ways to do it. Especially, absolutely. I mean, I'm galloping ahead here, because to me the thing about lymphatic drainage is such an important thing, because one of the things that I noticed about myself as I got older is I started to get my ankles started to swell. It was like, right, okay, what do we do about this? And you might dash to the doctor and he might say, well, you've got high blood pressure, you've got this, that and the other, or your blood pressure tablets can sometimes cause that, all that kind of thing. But if you've got somebody who can actually teach you how to do lymphatic drainage, that is amazing, because it's such an important indicator to so many other things as well, isn't it?
Yeah. And what it is, I don't teach how to, because it's a very complicated subject, and it's very powerful.
Teach the sort of importance of it, really.
Yeah, well, it's the importance of a good, healthy lymph flow and what the lymphatic system can actually do for your body, and show you some techniques which does help it flow. If I did a lymphatic drainage on people, I have to be very careful and check for contraindications, low blood pressure, if they've ever suffered from cancer and various other things, definite no-nos, without an authorised letter from a doctor to say that the treatment will be safe for that person.
Yeah. So when you do these talks, what is it that you do people really respond to it, or is
absolutely,
it,
I've done them for a couple of years now, and so sometimes I've gone back and there's people from the groups that have come back and they've given me feedback of what they liked. And one of the things which is why I brought a prop in, which we'll come on to later, is they really like three of the techniques I showed them. One is with a brush, two, a breathing technique, and the second one, how to manipulate your shower, the temperature on your shower. Again, I'll come into that in a little bit more detail later, to actually help them. And the feedback has been, I've tried that and it really, really worked. But again, I try and look back at what I call the 1% rule. Within these talks, I come up with, I give usually 10 or 11 things that may make a 1% difference. On their own, probably very little, but not everybody could do all of them. But if one or two people chose 3 or 4 that they liked, combined together, that might make a bigger difference than doing it on their own.
Yeah.
So So if something might, let's say, make a 1% difference, if there are 3 of them, that's a 3% difference, and that can actually help with people's lifestyles.
That's like you say, it's a gradual thing. It's not necessarily going to see you for an hour, and it's like.
Oh,
but if they can work on things, just like any kind of regime, if you expect anything that gives you immediate results, can also fall back very quickly as well, can't it? You need to sort of work on. You need to be. It's a bit like 1st of January we're all down at the gym. And then the next day we're all aching, and then we think, I don't think I'll do that again. Whereas if you do things gradually, and like you say, the lady who couldn't walk very far, she had a short goal, and then you lengthen the goal, and then she's doing it, And of course, that leads to other things where you think, well, I didn't used to be able to do that. Well, I can do that, And I suppose that snowball effect helps you as well.
Yeah.
So tell us about your prop, because I'm really interested why.
Well, can we come on to that in a little bit?
Sure.
I think one of the things I just wanted to do is explain is lymphatic system. Not a lot of people actually know about it, but it's basically it's your it's a subsystem that controls your autoimmune system. So any toxins within your body, like caffeine or pathogens or anything, are extracted out and filtered via your lymphatic system and flushed away. So, unlike your circulatory system, you've got a heart to pump it round. Your lymphatic system, you don't. So there's no pump. Hence why we have the manual lymphatic drainage. Now, normally, muscle contortion, breathing helps it flow round, and that's how it would extract it. The problem is for people who've got chronic pain or fibromyalgia, which a lot of the groups that I do see are very sedentary. So they don't get chance, particularly when they're having a flare up, to get the movement to actually release the toxins, which actually can help them, because it can good lymph flow basically can give you more energy. It can massively boost your energy levels, and it can sometimes break you out with these what they call flare ups or a period of where they're really suffering. So.
Sorry, I'm just going to stop you a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
The fibromyalgia, just amplify that a little bit more, because I think that would be very helpful to a lot of people. That that what you're doing is helpful, because I've had that diagnosis, and I kind of ignored it, and have done other things, and that've been very helpful. And just what you just said just now has been something that's been very helpful to me. So just amplify that a little bit more.
Absolutely. Well, with fibromyalgia, as you'll probably know, when you have a flare up, you really struggle, and you suffer not only with the pain and aches from it, but people do suffer from stress, chronic sleep, blood pressure issues, and one of the things that can happen during the time when you're feeling in chronic pain is your adrenal gland produces adrenaline, and there's cortisol flying around, but the problem is there's no direct threat there. So it doesn't get released, so it sits dormant, and that over a period of time can cause various problems with even more stress, more sleep, more anxiety, and things. So what we do is lymphatic drainage is very, very slow, gentle, and rhythmic, and it lowers your heart rate, as well as releasing the toxins. So what we do is we release your toxins first of all at this part of your body. So your lymph drains here. So on the right hand side, half of your head and half your torso, this side released through the right ventricle. Then the others come down the thoracic duct. So your legs, your waist, everything on your left hand side, and your left arm all comes down your thoracic duct. So we work that first, that's the lymph terminus, and then we back drain it from it. And then what we do it rhythmic to get people into a good breathing pattern. So we get them to breathe through the nose, so they can extract more oxygen in the body, and it relaxes them, and then you can flow down. And the lymphatic drainage for people who suffer with fibromyalgia, it's not a magic wand. It doesn't fix it, but it helps break that cycle. It helps them, give them that confidence that they can relax for that period of time, knowing that they will feel a little bit better afterwards. And the key then is to work with your client to put in some of the interventions, which we'll come on to shortly, how to maintain that. And then what we're trying to do is work out the frequency of of perhaps how often they need it. Some people it's a couple of times a year. Other people it's a little bit more regular. It's 4 weeks, but it's then understanding by trial and error and talking and communicating with your client to work out what the best program is for those. Really.
Thank you for that. That's really clarified a few things, I'm sure, for other people, and we'll put them on the path to possibly helping themselves as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, what else did you want to touch on?
So yeah, just going on to a little bit more of the talks that I do. Is one of the things I do is I talked about it earlier, is giving people some ideas of how they can help maintain and help their own flow of lymph. Now, lymph sits in what's called your dermis, which is just the layer under your first layer of skin, so it's your second layer of skin. And lymph is, the lymph capillaries and nodes are actually quite delicate, so any deep pressure actually stops the flow, which is another reason why lymphatic drainage is very good for people with fibromyalgia who suffer with chronic pain, and just the thought of somebody touching them can cause them quite a lot of distress. Lymphatic drainage is very, very, very light. Do you mind if I just show you on the back of your hand how light we're talking about? Yeah. So anybody can do it. So that's another really, really good plus that somebody can relax and know that it's not going to hurt them, and they can feel. So what we can't do is apply pressure. So everything that I do within teaching is actually very, very, very gentle. So one of the first one, and this is the one that's probably got the most success, is this. I bought this the other day. It's actually a dog brush, but it's perfect.
But it's like a tangle tease.
Yeah, but it's any airbrush, any spiky airbrush. Now, without any pressure on your skin, is actually drawing. I always like working distal to proximal, so that means the furthest parts away from your body to the centre line. Yeah. The key is though first is just to tap this area, and this gets the lymph flowing. So gently tap around this what we call the lymph terminus area, this area here, which is around a gland there called the thymus gland. So just around that area there, and that gets it going. And then we just work gently, no pressure, just hands to wrist, wrist to elbow, elbow to armpit. Now this is quite good, particularly in the armpit, because you've got some big nodes under there, the axillary nodes under there, so spend a lot of time on doing that. Both arms, and then legs, and then obviously around your head, and it's always down, aiming at that area there. So we always work up and work that area there. So that is one that's been very, very successful. The other one is actually when you take a shower. Now, this is not like Japanese water torch or anything like that, but by altering the temperature on your shower slightly, you can remember saying that it hasn't got a pump to pump it round. But one thing we can use, we can simulate your body being a pump by altering the temperature of the shower. So the shower's patting on you, which is fantastic for lymph flow anyway. But if, let's say, you're nice and warm, and you just alter it slightly, just so you can just notice a sudden slight temperature change, the thing that happens is that your skin contracts because you get goosebumps. So it all contracts, you get goosebumps. Then a few seconds later, if you move it back to warm and allow your skin then to dilate, and that movement there of that contraction dilation of it helps lymph within your dermis get moved a little bit. So it acts like a pump and squeezes it round.
Oh, that's an easy hack, isn't it?
Everything's easy. Another really good one is actually breathing. If you breathe through your nose, you extract a lot more. Your body processes oxygen a lot better without going very, very technical. The idea is that you breathe in very, very steady and out through your mouth. And that breathing allows your body to oxygenate, and again, it fills your diaphragm up, causes lymph motion, and then down. It's a very easy one. Movement, just sitting there, moving your fingers and rolling your shoulders. It's really good to do while you're watching the television. I mean, usually drive your partner mad when you're twitching and things. But just picking up a cushion, I'll use my laptop, picking up a cushion and gently rocking for 5 minutes. That little bit of movement does help lymph flow. Rolling your shoulders, any movement you do can help.
So even when you're sitting still, don't sit still.
Yeah. Well, you can do, 'cause you need to rest. But it's good to have a bit of time just to try and do some little bits of walking when you're sat in a chair. One of the worst things you can do is actually cross your legs.
Yes.
That is not very good at all.
No.
And there's various other things you can do. Is like drinking lots of water helps lymph flow. Especially if you put some squeeze of lemon in your water, a little bit of acid. The things that are not good for lymph flow are like your sugary, salty foods, processed foods, and that sort of stuff. That can actually make your lymph quite gloopy, and stop it from flowing. Whereas things like flaxseed, nuts, lots of vitamin C and water actually can help hydrate and actually flow it through.
So really, you're sort of pointing people towards a better diet. You're saying no processed food, that kind of thing.
I'm not saying that.
I'm just, it all helps, doesn't it?
It does all help. What I try and do is give people lots of information, the tools, and they can choose whether they like doing that one, or they like having a shower, or they like moving. There's people who say they don't like moving when they're down. There's various things, some yoga techniques that you can do, which with breathing and moving are fantastic. But some of the people with fibromyalgia or chronic arthritis would struggle to do those. So I generally give people lots of ideas, and then they can go away, and then hopefully when they come back the next year, they can say, "Oh, this one really worked for me," or "I didn't like this one," or "I fell off the wagon a little bit with that."
Well, we all do that, don't we? Like
Absolutely.
1st of January, all there. Although I have to say, we're in February and I'm still exercising every day, so I'm really happy with myself, And I noticed that earlier today you said about doing lymphatic drainage on your your face? Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah. So it's definitely sort of in vogue.
How do you do that? If you mind me asking.
I've just seen on TikTok a lot of people like gua sha.
Oh yes,
like
I have that.
And
stone,
then also lymphatic drainage with your fingers. I think they said do something with
It's around those veins there.
And then to like open up something. And
you
then,
do.
And then to just like, I think it was like you start here and you like pushed outwards or something, or pushed down.
Almost.
And then I don't know. You can correct me. But
No,
it's good for the skin. Apparently, it's good for the skin.
It's fantastic. I mean, the lymphatic drainage can be used for lots of different things. Funnily enough, I did lymphatic drainage because I was doing working with a lot of athletes who were building up lactic acids and various things in heat, so they wanted a lot of that draining. So it was quite a surprise to me when I first started getting my clients phoning for various other things. One of them is recovery from cosmetic surgery. You need an intense program of lymphatic drainage.
Oh really?
So I used to get a lot of people who had been going abroad for cosmetic surgery, Turkey and places, and coming back, and that was quite a surprise for me. And then when I looked into it, it's exactly the same reasons. People who do a lot of long haul air travel, we get a build up of toxins being in a pressurised cabin. It's good for that.
I started it on my face with one of those stones that it's like a rose quartz stone or something. And I'd started it because I had such bad sinus.
Oh right,
And but then I noticed that it also helped lots of things. It does. It's like helped the way my face looked, but also helped. I didn't have as many spots or anything like that because it drains all that.
It takes
particularly
toxins.
sort of the hormonal cycle. During that time, I don't have that now, but during that time, it's really helpful.
It is
because a lot of women do find that they get spots and this and that. And if you do the lymphatic drainage, it did really help.
Absolutely, it's good for cellulitis. It's good for all sorts of. Because basically it's cleansing, putting your body in through a rapid detox. That's in essence what you're doing. So you're getting rid of all those bits of caffeine that's stuck in it gets rid of any used white cells, and it helps. One of the things that a lot of people don't know is about the spleen, how important that actually is to all of this. The spleen is, I can only describe it as a massive recycling centre. So it gets all the old white cells that have been used, that have been picked up, bits of pathogens and toxins, oxidants, all sorts of things like that. It takes and filters them out and recycles your red blood cells and filters your blood quite regular. So this actually helps helps your spleen do its job, really.
Yeah, and it is very, and it's one of those things that you always sort of heard on television. Oh, he's had to have his spleen removed, and it's like you sort of didn't know what it was, and then you look it up, and it's like, oh, it's quite important.
It's very important. Yeah.
So, when you do it on a more corporate level, you know, do you do talks?
If I do, on a corporate level, because a lymphatic program takes well over an hour to do. I usually haven't got that time.
No.
So a lot of it is talking to the people about what it can actually do for you. It's the coaching element side of it, as opposed to practicing it. Whereas with somebody who's got perhaps say a rotator cuff issue, you can actually get in there and work it and manipulate the tendons and things. Whereas you don't usually on a corporate level get a chance to go, but you can talk about these things. You can talk about the importance of drinking water. It's really good for concentration as well.
I was just going to. That's what I was going to go on to. Is that in one area you're helping, sort of like physically, but it's also helping mentally as well.
Yeah.
You know, as with lots of things, you know, when you come to talk about it, you've really got to look at all parts of your body, and very often it's not really the symptoms. You've got to find the cause of it, and sometimes it's not the thing that you think it is. You might think, I don't like where I work, and it might be that they just need to move around a bit more, or something like that.
Yeah, all those come into it as well. And one of the things that I've noticed as well is people when they're having treatments, perhaps not so much in the corporate environment, but in their own, it's an hour for them, or however long it is. It's a bit of escapism. It's their moment to disappear out of their normal.
Yes.
So if somebody's suffering for chronic stress or in pain, it's an hour where they don't have to do that, and they can relax and just disappear into their own.
And sort of when you were younger, you could do all sorts of things. I used to go diving and all that kind of thing. But sometimes you need something far more local to you to do it, don't you? Because you haven't got those. You haven't got the. You haven't got the time. It's that you haven't got the inclination until somebody like you comes along and says, well, all right, you know, like you say, we'll take you to the corner shop, you know, and see how far you go from there. That kind of.
And give them a time scale to achieve it. So you won't be able to do this in week 1, but after 2 or 3 treatments and the weather picks up and things, do it on a nice sunny day.
Yeah.
And when you get there, give yourself a reward for it.
Yeah.
Treat yourself to an ice cream.
That sounds it. I mean, the thing is, it's like we've on these podcasts we've had various people, and we had Michael came along to talk to us about yoga, and it was amazing again. That particularly, this is me being, I suppose, I've always known yoga being taught by a woman, because my auntie was very famous in Doncaster for Sally Mandon was very, you know, prolific in really popularising yoga many years ago. But when Michael came along, it gave it a different kind of dynamic, the same as when I'm talking to you, because I think we all think, oh, you know, we're all on doing it for our face so we look younger. It's not that. It's the whole approach comes out, you know, and it's wonderful to have somebody that's, I think, is out of the norm of that, talking to us about it, to make it more accessible to everybody.
Absolutely, yoga's fantastic for it's fantastic for helping your body process toxins and moving lymph around your body.
I mean, he really sort of enthralled us all with his chat, you know, same as you are here, because it's like I say, you're delivering it in a different way than I expected. You know, you're it's not typical, you know, the way you're talking about it. You're talking about it from a workplace thing, you know, where I'm going to make things easier for you, and then you'll be able to do this. And in the workplace, sort of like, you know, if you think about hydrating, if you think about moving, if you think it will make things more productive.
And I think that's my client base has evolved like that as well, because like I mentioned earlier, I think 85% of my clients now are regular repeat customers who are setting. So they're wanting to look at a long-term goal. They're wanting to achieve something going forwards, rather than it just being a in and out type session and see you when next time I'm ready for one. It's not like that.
No.
And like saying, the frequency is very, very different. Like saying, the aspect of my client base is massive. I've got a lady who's 18 months ago won the world championship bodybuilding, muscle fitness bodybuilding she went to Australia for the world champion, and it was the first year of competing. She won it, she had a year off, she's 50 this year, and she said, I'm going to do it again. So I've got people at that stage who are looking at completely different. Their cup final is completely different from somebody. I've got a little old guy on a Wednesday in his 90s, and he just likes to be able to pot around, and he just likes I think he likes the company as well. I think he likes to have a good chat and a good natter. We work on his legs and his mobility, and he's quite happy for that every couple of weeks. It keeps him going and things, and his family like it because it's somebody keeping an eye on him.
Yes, they can go and sit down and relax as well. Right, that's it. I mean, just talking about lymphatic drainage is, I didn't think that we're going to be able to get this far in it, but it's just amazing. It's interesting, isn't it?
One of the problems talking about it is quite technical and things, and sometimes these groups there is a retired nurse or somebody who knows. They ask you the in-depth questions, and it is very in-depth, and it's trying to get over the basics of what it is without being too technical, so people can relate to it and understand it, rather than just baffling people with science, talking about T cells and various other things.
So in regards to your business, what else do you offer?
Basically, that's it. I offer going corporate well-being packages where I can come in and work.
Do you talk about like pain management, that kind of thing?
Anything, absolutely. I can cover anything really. I've got then my private client base it's all mobile now. It's easy to go to people's houses and stuff. Particularly if you've got fibromyalgia and you've had a treatment off me for an hour, the last thing you want to be doing is then getting in your car, getting changed and driving home. You probably want to have a nice cup of tea and go to bed for a couple of hours. So it works far better as a mobile. And like I say, I'd probably say 70% of my clients are private customers, and I generally just do the commercials on a Friday.
Right, I see. And as to pain management, how would you guide your clients?
One-to-one. We'd have to go through a consultation, and everybody's situation is different, so it's very difficult to give a generic answer to that.
So that's one of the real good things about you, is that you're very, very individual, bespoke, really.
Absolutely, and that's what I do advertise, and that it's like when I do a treatment, you don't get any whale music or anything. You get a treatment, and I'm talking to you. I'm telling you what I'm finding and giving you that advice or whatever as we progress. And also you can tell how things are working, or by if people are in pain, they tend to grip with their feet or their hands a little bit. If you ask them, does that hurt? No, and then they're doing this with their feet. They are. So I'm very interactive. They're not quiet programs where you can. Probably at the end where I'm flushing at the back, which is a lot more rhythmic, I let people just relax a bit. But certainly for the first bulk of the treatments, I'm very vocal. I talk to them, try and understand what's happening, what's changed since the last time, and things like that. And it's good, and what's worked, how they felt it, and you see patterns with people as well. And people with fibromyalgia, I've noticed that probably from October to April, the symptoms and the regularity of the flare-ups are a lot more intense and a lot more regular. But in the summer months, they're not as bad. So we know that. So we can say, okay, between October and April, we'll do 5 weeks between a treatment. But April to September, we'll spread that out to 7-8 weeks. We can chop and change it as we go, and it's that sort of bespoke.
And your visit, your visit at somebody's house, especially with you being so vocal, must also be very good for somebody's mental health.
Absolutely.
Because it's somebody coming, like you say, sort of outside normal, their normal life, but enhancing their life, but also just talking to you must be very therapeutic.
Well, yeah, man, I'll rattle to anybody about anything. Yeah, I'm quite happy to talk about anything they want to, really.
Yeah. But it must be very therapeutic to have somebody there who is there to look after you and to listen to what your problems are. Because I think very often, certainly with a lot of pain, it's very difficult. And so if you've got a time where you're actually being sort of looked after, and you can also articulate as well, and that person can articulate where you are in the situation.
Listening to your client is the number one attribute you've got to do this successfully. The way I do it, you've got to listen.
Well, I think that's brought us very, very nicely to I hope you've listened to that and learnt something, because I certainly have, and it's been really a pleasure to have you here, Andy.
Yeah, no problem.
And I hope you go from strength to strength, which I'm sure you will.
If it's okay, I've got a question.
Oh,
of
right.
course, yeah.
With younger people, does lymphatic drainage, like in the body or in the face or whatever, does that benefit anything for the future, or does it help prevent any issues in the future?
It's younger people generally have better lymph flows because they're a lot more active, and also there's things like your thymus gland. When you're young, that is a lot more active, and that's what produces your T cells when you're young. So you generally are better. But let's say somebody who's an athlete training, let's say you're a sprinter and you're doing lots of running races, and then you're suffering fatigue in between them. Lymphatic drainage would and massage would actually help you recover massively. It'd be fantastic for if you're feeling stressed. So if you're stressed around exam times or stressed about moving out into your first new home or going to university, it's fantastic flex. It lowers your heart rate. So it could benefit the individual in lots and lots of different ways. But again, it would be down to a good consultation with me, having a chat with what is it you want to achieve, what is your goal, why would you like the service, and what do you want to achieve by getting it. And then we can work out a bespoke program out for you, because it may be that you think you need lymphatic drainage, and then you chat to me, you think, well, actually your problem's because your shoulders are hurting because you're on a tablet and you're like this, and you're starting to get a little bit of kyphosis. So then I would perhaps suggest that a program of working on your rotator cuff and your posture would be more beneficial than a lymph drain. So it can help in lots of different ways, but again, what we need to do is just narrow that down by doing a good consultation to find out what it is you want to actually achieve.
But being aware of it, like as a young person, and sort of best practice, really, sort of like there's no harm in looking after it, no harm at all.
No.
And the one thing I will say is definitely when I was younger, the hormonal cycle thing made lymphatic drainage was fantastic, because we all know, as women anyway, that you get this flare up, and there's usually sort of like 3 spots in it. But if you do the lymphatic drainage, they never come back, and it's like, this is amazing. So I can totally attest to, even if you are younger, best practice might help you in that sort of area.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I think if we were all questioned up, that's really good. Well, thank you so much for coming to see us. It's been
problem.
great. And I know it's a little bit late, but I hope the new year brings lots of good for you. We are in the 2nd month now, which is amazing. Time just flies now, doesn't it? Anyway, thank you very much, and all the best to you.
Thank you very much. Nice meeting you all. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for listening to the Community Wealth Builders All Access podcast. Today's guest details can be found in the bio.